So, looking a little rough this morning. Not the best. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this thing on, and we're going to see where this takes us. I will see you in a moment. So, starting out this morning, just freshly out of bed. It's 11. I did a little bit of prep work for this video. And as you can see, it's a chit chat being honest. I have been thinking about this video for a little bit, and while I brush my hair, I'm going to use the screen. So if you see me looking at myself, that would be the reason why. It's because I'm using the screen on there. But I'm going to do this unscripted and attempt to see what kind of non-editing I can do so that it's fairly raw. Because I think I owe you guys a little bit of honesty at this point, since I haven't posted any long form in like 3 months or more. So we're gonna rewind time and go back to January of 24 and pretty much start from there and then end up here. So I've been trying to piece together all of the bits and pieces. Because we're asking well over a year at this point. So I'm just going to say that January was pretty timid compared to the rest of the year. And then February came and I posted a video saying that something had happened and I wasn't very happy. I discovered that I lost a loved one, and was completely out of the blue. I mean, literally out of the blue. There was no signifier saying that there was illness of any kind, and I got a phone call I really didn't expect. March of that same year was pretty chaotic as well, going through grieving and preparing for the upheaval that I would address. April of that year, I got a phone call I didn't expect, where personal things started to come into play due to their personal nature and the sensitivity of it. We're just going to keep it as personal things. A lot of that will come into play within this story. But personal things started to come into play, and I really wasn't prepared for any of it. May came and the battle started. The thing I had not planned for, I had not dreamt of, began to happen. Again, because of its personal nature, we're just going to call it personal. and leave it at that. June came and summer was finally here, and you would assume that I would get a break, but I did not. I wound up with a stressful situation that I'm still currently dealing with at this moment. So the theme so far is, how far can TBI Journey be taken before she cracks? Because that's literally what 2024 and this year feels like to me. I feel like I'm being tested in the worst possible way. And they're not even tests that people have an opportunity to study for. It's like, how do you study for the loss of an individual? How do you study for personal uprise? How do you study? And like, people are going to be going in the comments and they're like, well, that's life. I'm just saying, I didn't get a chance to be like, oh, if I study real hard, then I'll pass the test. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't get that opportunity. It was literally kapow right into my lap. And it's been a battle ever since. So now we're into June, and I'm trying to navigate some of this wild, crazy stuff. Okay? So at this point, some of the stuff that I've been going through is starting to calm down. Not all of it, but some of it. Where I'm able to finally tolerate life again. And then something got plopped into my lap I wasn't expecting. I wound up having to take care of a family member that would definitely be one of the more difficult things I've done in my life when I got the phone call that they were no longer with us. That's when I had posted announcing death. I sympathize with you. I'll link that down here. Something to the effect of announcing it, and you can hear in my voice how much it's still affecting me. August, we put them in the ground. September was another personal matter. It came in a double whammy. Wasn't as bad as the rest of the things, and it wasn't as good as the rest of the things. I think, honestly, to tell you the truth, if everything I went through in 2024 was as simple as September, I would be a lot better right now, and I wouldn't be struggling to post content. I wouldn't be grieving. I wouldn't have so many gaps going on right now. And I probably would be back in action with my long form content. I've been struggling to even get in front of the camera and do this video. I keep looking outside because there's dark, ugly gray clouds, and I'm legitimately waiting for the lightning to flash because they're that ugly. So if you catch me looking out the window, that would be the reason why. October came and I got some discouraging health information that I'm still currently active in sussing out. When I get an absolute answer, I will either post it or keep to myself. I haven't quite made the decision on that because it's HIPAA protected. It's something that I'm allowed to protect. So I haven't quite made my decision on what I'm going to do as far as that. This gets really hard. November came around and it was my birthday, and actually it's kind of like the start of birthday month for my area. Everyone seems to be born in the fall months. So there was a lot of that. And then you got to also add holidays that are starting to come up. You've got Thanksgiving in November, and facing November without family was extremely difficult, without the people that should have been there. You know, having to go through their loss and then having to go through a loss with their absence. And as much as I would love to come on here and say some magical rendition of, you know, this magical pill took care of it all, I can't. I have no words for anybody out there who's gone through loss and lost somebody that they truly care about, and then having to face them not being there. You know, like, what do you do? I think it's just one of those things where no matter how hard you try, no matter what avenue you choose to pick, it's an experimental thing. You got to experience those pains in order for you to move forward. So then Christmas or December came around, and that made Christmas. So yet again, another one of those I wasn't there type situations that I just kind of had to suck it up and continue forward. I don't know. I don't know what specifically can be said. The more I think about it, the more I'm like at a loss for words of going through as much as I went through and keeping it together the only way I knew how. Went through as much of that as I could without breaking down, without having difficulties, whatever that looked like. Wound up getting sick towards the end of December. It was quite a fascinating experience going through all of that. And then, of course, February came back around, and now that we're in 2025, everybody's starting to celebrate the anniversary of loss. They're starting to have those moments where I think that understanding, like that true understanding, is starting to sink in that life is never going to be the same again. Never the way it was beforehand. I also had gotten some letters in the mail that I needed to deal with my life. So I woke up the morning of the 6th, and the morning of March 12th, that finally ended. Or at least I'm assuming it ended, because I haven't heard anything. So the stresses of last year have definitely rolled into this year, to a degree. But when you go through a lot of adversity, you just kind of naturally get accustomed and understand that certain things are going to continue on even if you don't want them to. So let's talk a little bit about this April thing that I keep posting about. In 2013, I was diagnosed with papillary carcinoma, and I'm going to do an insert right now. That explains a little bit about what I've been going through. It was a total removal, so they call that a thyroidectomy. It's how I got the scars on my neck. So if you see the scars on my neck, it's because I don't have a thyroid anymore. It got sick, and they told me it needed to come out. I have never been told in 12 years that I could go in for remission testing. And so this would be the first time ever in 12 years that I've been given this kind of news. I leave the morning of April 7th, and then I return back the night of April 11th. So it's a pretty gnarly, intensive test that I have to go through. I did post that as much as I could. I would document it so that you guys can come with. I don't know specifically when it comes to thyrogen testing of whether or not I'm be able to film every step of the way, because I don't think I can take the camera in to the room where they're going to do the scan, because I think the camera will interfere with the images. So I'm going to do as much as I possibly can with that. And then May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I've got the videos that I plan on posting. I got those up and ready for you guys and are just waiting to be seen. So as soon as that comes around, you guys will have those. Now, going back to the thyrogen testing, I have to do that in a hotel room. So a lot of my content is not even going to be done here in the house. It'll be done away. And I'm really kind of heartbroken because I have other obligations, but I'm really, really looking forward to this testing. I'm really, really excited to even have the opportunity to go through this. I know a lot of people out there that are struggling with their own family members who have some form of carcinoma. They talk about the different locations. If you do the research on it, they talk about the different locations of where carcinoma can be found. And it's not just in the thyroid. So there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of hurt right now because of something that we technically should have a cure for. I mean, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Like, our technology now should have a cure, and it's beyond my understanding why it doesn't. Those are my opinions. Take them for whatever you choose to take them for. I don't know how specifically I'm going to go about doing the testing because I go in one day, I get an injection. I go in another day, I get an injection. I go in another day, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I go in another day, and I get this ugly little pill that's got to sit in my body. And then the next day, I go and get my scan done. And then the morning of the 11th, I finally get to pack everything up, but I won't be home until that night because I still have to go and see the doctors and stuff and go get labs and whatever final things that they have to do before the end of the day. And then I come back home and I'm super exhausted. I get a little bit of a break. And then after that, I gotta go back to the same town, go and see my endocrinologist, and find out what they found on the scan. So it's a pretty intensive thing. It's extremely labor intensive, and I feel stupid saying that, which is what I paused for. I found it to be stupid, but it's labor intensive. You know, like I'm in and out of the hospital all that week doing something. And so I figured by making this video, as we're coming up to almost 25 minutes of me sitting here flapping my yap, trying to explain to you guys what's been going on and how it's been going on. I thought if I came on here and explained a little bit about what's going on, what has been going on, why I struggle so much to post on a regular basis. I think anybody who's gone through this kind of treatment can definitely sympathize with me about the absolute insane difficulty of going through and getting yourself back to a healthy position. I think that if anything else, what I'm really hoping might come out of this is that people will have a place to express their thoughts and their feelings, and, you know, feel that this is a place that they can come to and be like, you know, I had a loved one that was lost. I have somebody who's battling. I have these emotions from, you know, my own journey. Because I think one thing that social media struggles with, no matter what kind of social media it really is, we don't put out enough what the reality of life looks like. We have this way of posting the glam of it. We have a way of drumming down the fact that real life happens. We have a way of, you know, showing everybody that life is perfect and grand. But behind the scenes, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows the battles that that influencer is going through. Sometimes I'll come across people who post that, you know, they've gone in for treatment of varying different kinds, but it's pretty rare. It's more like, I've gone on this vacation, I've had a new baby, I've gotten married, you know, all these beautiful things. And I'm not saying don't post them, you know, post them. Because at the end of the day, somebody like me who's laying in a hospital bed with all the equipment, I would much rather be on a beach or pretending that I'm in a wedding ceremony than definitely laying in a hospital bed wondering whether or not something's going to happen. You know, I mean, we all need our escapes, you know. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go finish getting ready and I'll be right back and we will end off the video. So I went and moved the camera. Don't think I should have moved the camera. But this is the final look. And as I was getting ready, I realized that I didn't mention my migraine, which is why I got my glasses on, because it helps a little bit with my vision to help calm the migraine. It's also why I didn't have a light in front of me, and I'd only used the natural light for the video. I've been getting a lot more migraines lately, and I think it's due to stress, but I go and I see my GP tomorrow, and I plan on bringing it up at that appointment of, it's like once or twice a month right now I've been getting migraines. So that also has been playing into my posting schedule, that I am not uploading the way that I normally do. But again, this is the final look. I do have editing on this video to do because my ands and ums are going to drive me crazy posting it. But other than that, I think I'm just going to leave it as is and then show you guys. I've got to go put this into the editing board. If you like content like this, check out this video. This button here shows me that you care. It's the care button. Because at the end of the day, understanding is the first step to change.